Good morning. Okay, hold on. We have a little message here. It says temporary error LinkedIn, but do we still want to go live? Yes. Okay. Good morning. I am Allie Brown. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, and this is my very special guest today, Dr. Love saying that now, Dr. Claire Zammit. And where are you? Where are you exactly now? Where is this beautiful home I see?
Lake Tahoe,
Yeah.
Olympic Valley, Lake Tahoe. Yeah.
You must have felt very nested this year up there.
It was such a good decision to move into this where we have more space and we're really supported by our space. So we've been so blessed.
Yeah, it just looks so cozy. I almost ran away from the kids and came up to you a few times. You just didn't know it. I was checking flights or how long it would be to drive. I'm like, Claire would have room for me. I'm going to drive up to Lake Tahoe. Let's do that. Let me give Claire a bit of a introduction. For those of you who aren't familiar with her, how did we meet originally? Did someone connect us
Someone
like 10
connected
years
us in
ago?
LA years ago. This was like before the twins, right as you just
Yeah.
met Brett, our first lunch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I came to know Claire's work with her feminine power frameworks that she has led millions of women across the globe. More than 40,000 women have graduated from her feminine power programs. And you're going to hear today, Claire was really ahead of her time. I mean, the stuff that she was putting out there over 10 years ago, and people were just starting to become intrigued with. There never was a more relevant time for your work, Claire, and I want to emphasize that today. We'll get to that. And what I love about Claire is, you have kind of the spiritual teachers out there who are kind of floating off the floor all day, but Claire brings the business. What is the word I want? The acumen. She's built a company that is brought in, if you don't mind sharing, like revenues over the years to give them an idea.
60 million.
$60 million. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So this ain't her first rodeo. I wanted her here because she is truly a businesswoman, but leading this spiritual revolution. And you need to hear from more women like this, because what we're seeing even now is this big separation still of the spiritual with the business. And this all goes together. And I want you to talk all about this. And you got your PhD. Was it last year or the year before?
A couple of years ago, after 15 years of deep diving.
Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
so how exciting. It's so great to have you here. I would love you to start off, Claire, just sharing a bit about your personal evolution and kind of how you came into your state of the union today for yourself and the company.
Well, sure. I mean, just a little bit of background. I mean, it really connects to my personal story, how I came to do the work that I do, how I came to have this company. And my personal experience was like so many women who follow you or who follow me. There's this impulse to want to contribute our gifts, to want to be of service, to somehow want to create our own way in the world. And we've opted out of traditional pathways, many ways. And we're trying to pave our own way, and we can't necessarily see exactly what that looks like. And where I began, this was about 15, 20 years ago, was just this feeling of this deep unsung song, this calling, but I didn't know how to get it out of me. And it was confusing because I felt on paper I had so many of the check boxes of being a powerful woman that, I had led teams of 50 women. I had my own apartment. I had my own car, and all of those things looked really great. But when I looked more deeply inside of myself, I felt like all of the things that I was doing in many ways were expressions of somebody else's dream and vision and not my own. And even though I had relationships in my life that were around me on a deep level, I felt isolated. I felt really alone. And I followed that inquiry. I followed that. Like, what is this feeling that I'm having, this impulse to, there's something in me that I need to get out into the world. And what I've come to discover through the following 15 years of work and research is that there's a sea change happening for women on planet Earth right now that is as revolutionary as the internet and the emergence of social media. And that is the shift from, if we look at Maslow's hierarchy, the aiming to just simply achieve the achievement stage to self-actualization. And this was one of the huge findings of my research. As women gain access to power, we don't just want to achieve success in the world that is, we want to become catalysts and midwives of our higher possibilities, of the higher possibilities to create the future, right? So it's kind of like, we don't want to be successful caterpillars. We want to become the butterfly. We want to, there's something inside of us that is in potential that we want to get out into the world. And long story short, I came to see that I and millions of women are experiencing what I've come to call this power paradox. This, feeling on the one hand, we're more powerful than ever before and have more opportunity than ever before, yet we feel powerless to create a lot of things that we now yearn for at this new level of self-actualization. And the thing that I saw was that our entire system of power in our prevailing world has been largely a masculine power system that is very logical and strategic and step-by-step, which is a great power system for creating things that are predictable and controllable at this achievement stage. If you want to build a house, create a plan, order the materials, have a sequence and a crew, execute the plan, and you have a house. That's masculine power. Whereas the things that we are now yearning for as self-actualizing women, to discover our deepest gifts, to be able to impact others in ways that our gifts are received and that they make a difference, to create thriving relationships, to create the experience of belonging, to empower and lift others up, to all of these things you can't create with that same power system. And when I discovered that, I made it my mission to figure out what this new system of power is. And I call it feminine power because it's sourced from the feminine principle of relationship, relatedness, a connection to ourselves, to each other, to the greater energies, intelligence of life. And no kidding, when I made that shift to start creating from a different source of power, that's when the whole trajectory of my life completely changed. I discovered my great work, the work that I was born to contribute that helps to create the future. And out of that, one thing led to another. And I created Evolving Wisdom as a platform, the company that is a transformational education company that through the process of emergence. But I could never, when I started, have created a vision board or set a goal of me teaching women about feminine power and creating this company to create a strategic plan to get there.
Yeah.
It's something that just emerged from a completely different source of power, from receptivity, from curiosity, from listening, from trust, from self-belief, taking the next step. And out of that, just a whole different trajectory emerged.
Yeah. Wow. There's so many things you just said. We could probably create a workshop on each. You probably have one. But I know I heard you say this before and I forgot about it, that you're right, the old systems, and this is for us personally, but this is happening on a meta level in the world right now, right? This is what's so exciting about this time. So the frameworks that existed don't help us when we're birthing something new. Like you said, it's good for only predictable and controllable things we want to achieve. And when I met you as well, I was kind of on that cusp, if you remember, of having built this business with very, I don't want to say I was very masculine. People follow me because I think I had a more feminine vibe, but I definitely was an achiever, right? I wanted to build this thing and I had fun setting goals, go for the goal. How do we get there? Blah, blah, blah. And then I felt this new thing kind of percolating and pushed it away. That doesn't fit my plan on the wall. Nope.
Right.
percolating. So God threw me twins. That helped. I'm sure I'm sure they're watching, like going, well, you think twins would get her attention? Maybe that's what happened. And then I was disrupted. And then really opened up to this way of being and doing. And I know everyone's path's different, but that just reminded me of that time.
Well, I remember meeting you at that time when that shift was happening. And I remember there was a decision that you made to want to thrive in all areas of your life, personally as well as professionally. And it was amazing to witness that shift, and the knowing and the trust that you had, the self-belief that you had, that led you to take the risks to make those big changes that have created in this beautiful life that you're living in the center of your own destiny.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about current times and how what are some pieces of advice that you could share with all the women watching now who feel this disruption, or they may feel very disconnected because the way they've been doing things isn't working anymore, or maybe it is, but they're feeling this calling. They're feeling this calling to create something new, birth something new, step into their great work. Can you walk us through a few things to be aware of or take action on?
Sure. So I'm just trying to feel where to come into this. So there were, few. So the times we are in, this time, I believe it's the most extraordinary moment in our lifetime that we're in right now, of intense disruption. Right? Like the old the thing about things falling away, I like to call it the power of unmanifestation. Like sometimes things they fall apart, or they blow up, or they break down, like personally in our own lives. It might be a business that we tried to launch that didn't work, or a relationship, or, and I think the gift of these times of disruptions personally is there's nothing holding us back from realigning our life and setting our vision in a way that's aligned with our truest north and our truest destiny. And so I think if we can use these as opportunities to take a leap into the work that we're truly here to do, what we're really yearning for. I was speaking to you earlier about a time in our company's history where we had a really challenging set of circumstances, and I ended up losing over $1 million that year. And I asked the question, okay, I'm not going to go into a story of being a victim of this. I'm not going to go into, a story that life doesn't support me. I'm going to say, I'm going to stand in a knowing that what I have to offer is valuable, and stay in a place of curiosity and openness and wonder. I wonder what my next step is out of this. And through that disruption, through that breakdown, I really got the vision, or I really saw that I'd been playing small in that company as it was. And that even though I'm an excellent teacher of personal growth, my genius and my greatness is in mentoring women to be change makers, developing their transformational skills in all different ways. So on the other side of that, I launched a whole new academy to train women leaders and change makers. And that catalyzed my whole destiny. My leadership destiny was like, really, I'm living in the center of the work I feel like I'm here to do even more than ever. And I wouldn't have had the courage to make those big changes if life hadn't forced me, like through these big disruptions. So I think that these big disruptions that are happening are opportunities to be asking the big questions, which is really about, what is it that I'm really here to contribute? Not just what I'm good at, or what I'm excellent at, or what I think there is a market opportunity for. What is the work that I came into this world to do, to share? What are the deepest gifts and genius that I uniquely have? Who is my destiny audience? Who are the people on planet Earth who most need what it is that I have to give? Where are those people not being served? How can I bring forward my gifts to serve these deep, immediate, and urgent unmet needs of those people in my life or in the world who really need what I'm here to contribute? And so it's like following those questions will always lead you to a path of being able to create huge value and impact in any circumstance, in any business environment. And, by standing in a place of unshakable connection to what I had to contribute, knowing that we're living in a life positive universe, even though it's terribly scary, my circumstances, enables you to think from a deeper center, respond from a deeper center, reach out to get support, not be isolated, and resources. There was a time I was reaching out to a lot of people that I knew to get their input, to get their feedback. And so I think that, these opportunities are incredible opportunities to make these quantum leaps in our own destiny. And in a larger world, there are opportunities, I believe, in every field of human endeavor that are unprecedented, and that the hunger and the demand and the needs, do other needs in the marketplace right now. Because that really shows, right? That really shows more than ever. There's no shortage of opportunities for contribution, for opportunities for value creation.
Yeah.
It's just an opportunity to rethink and bring creativity, receptivity, curiosity into that process, as opposed to fear and contraction and scarcity. And that's really the difference that makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of what we should have been doing all along, but now's the wake up call, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of your only way through.
yeah.
This is, and for men as well, these skills are applicable for men who are going through this transition, aren't they?
I think it's really true. Although what I will say is, for a lot of reasons, and that's a whole other conversation, there are a greater majority of women feeling this self-actualization impulse. And the reasons that women are becoming entrepreneurs largely are different to the reasons that men become entrepreneurs.
We do see
Right?
that. Yeah.
Right? Because you can't really self-actualize and become who you are meant to be without creating your own context. And those contexts don't yet exist in the external world that enable us to become ourselves. We need to create them. So women, I believe, we're becoming entrepreneurs en masse, not just because we see market opportunities, but because we want to create. We finally have the opportunity to create the structures in our life to be able to be who we are and to create the kind of life that we want to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you tune into that, this is where I try to leave everyone on these shows or anything I do or my podcast or when I'm leading my groups, is that leaving these conversations and feeling that vibe, feeling that frequency of the incredible opportunities. It's like night and day versus when you walk out the door and turn on the news and talk to your average person in the street, right? We are in this different world where we have this within our reach. If you are watching this right now, I want you to kind of tune in, because that is truth. That frequency is truth, where you feel like you can create something new. You are here for a reason. And right now you're feeling, a lot of people kind of get zapped by this vibe or tune into it or kind of feel it like, ooh, wait, what is this? What is this percolating right now? So, I mean, when I kept in touch for a long time, but when this stuff started happening last year, I'm looking around going like, oh, wow, this is all the stuff Claire's been talking about, and I related to it in so many levels, but even now, especially, like I'd love to personally plug back into your work, because it's happening again, with me, and this kind of plugging in, and this, some people title this as the ascension, or plugging into this new vibe where I really feel the women are going to be the ones bringing the next evolution of what's going on. Yeah. How have you evolved as a leader personally in leading your company, like this past year? How has the year been for you and your business? Did you have to make some changes, or not really?
That's a really great question. And I was actually something I wanted to share about, because, back to just picking up on the thread that you just shared. I remember in an interview with you, I think it could have been as long as like 10 years ago now, it was that long ago. I remember you were very much ahead of your time in the vision that you were holding for women. And one of my favorite quotes from an interview with you was just, our courage hasn't caught up with our opportunity as women. That's one thing that you said that really, named exactly this, what I was seeing and sensing, for us as women, that we do have the power to define and recreate and shape society and culture in every level. And I believe that the work that we're individually called to is part of this great work of recreation. If we can align with it, if we can be a yes to it. And I think that the key is that we need to grow. We need to grow and develop ourselves to be able to step into the fullness of who we are and what we have to offer. So this year, I knew, this year we have last year, as I shared at the beginning, it was a moment. We had just said yes to this big expansion, and we'd increased our expenses by, I think, about 50% last year, right as the pandemic was hitting. And it was like a moment of like,
Perfect.
great. But having had those experiences and seasons and cycles, I mean, I think this is one thing that I know the women that you work with and that you mentor and you facilitate and guide speak about, like, you get to this place where you can be generative in the face of whatever happens. And you can trust yourself to figure it out, and you can trust life to be ever recreative in the process. So it's like, okay, I need to generate. And so the first place that I went is, if I want to increase my revenue by 50%, I need to grow as a person. I need to have a radical internal growth goal in myself to, get through whatever level has kept me at this level up until now, and get past my own upper limits. Because I think the path of self-actualization, particularly as an entrepreneur, you're creating things and you're forever in this position where you're doing things that you don't yet really know how to do, or you've really mastered, if you are on the edge of your own evolution and the edge of your own growth. And that, that capacity to be able to, be with uncertainty and not knowing, and be in a process of discovery, is the capacity to be able to self-evolve, to be able to grow. And then this is what I believe, this is a part of what feminine power is. It's this capacity to self-initiate your own process of evolution. And so, this was a tremendous year of up-leveling my communication, of up-leveling how I'm showing up as a leader, of up-leveling my sense of what I can receive, and what I can have, and what I can hold, and being willing to expand. And it really was this experience, I think now more than ever before, if we connect with really this, great calling on our life, which I like to call destiny, this, higher possibility of our life. It's the destiny, it's of an acorn to become an oak tree, of a rose seed to become a rose. There is this blueprint of greatness inside of each of us. And if we can be a yes to that and surrender to that, there's a way that destiny starts to manifest you. And the path of manifesting and creating at the highest level is a path of being willing to get outside your comfort zone and expand, and to be able to consciously grow in, who you are, how you're showing up, and what you're creating.
Wow. I'm going to have this transcribed because this is just so good. Do you walk around profound all day? That's Craig nuts. Will you stop being so profound?
I don't know. I didn't have that experience of myself. I think the experience of leadership is you're like failing all the time, and like missing the mark all the time, which is great, because it gives you, the humility to show up and grow, because there's actually a wonderful quote, it's like, I'm going to change it to woman instead of man. A woman's reach should be out of her grasp. Otherwise, what's a heaven for? Anything worthy of your aspiration in life is going to be out ahead of where you are currently, because that's where the experience of being alive is. Like, that's where the juice is. That's where the creative power is. Yeah. So, internally in myself, I'm always like experiencing that kind of, the insecurity that comes from surrender, and like letting go of control, and leaning in and turning towards your growing edges. So that's my experience of myself. It's not one of having been finished and arrived and profound, for sure.
I love it. I love it. Share with everyone, if you would, the importance of who you surround yourself with. I know you've had the pleasure, opportunity, privilege to be around some amazing leaders and work with some amazing people over the years. And you have quite a good tight circle of people that you've relied on over the years.
Yeah, I would say that if I look at all of the things that have been catalysts and game changes in my business, they've come from networking with really a high level people who are up to big things, and who are creating big things, and who are supporting each other, and sharing knowledge, sharing information, sharing encouragement, and resources. I really believe, and actually all the research shows this, that the women who are most successful in positions of leadership are ones who are in circles of radical resource sharing, like an intel sharing, resource sharing, that the most successful women leaders on planet Earth, that is the one characteristic that really does stand out. And it's true from my own experience, from from being at a group and having a referral to someone who knew someone who then I was able to have a key hire, for that person, to, being in a conversation and getting an idea about something and getting feedback about something. Oh, I think that title for your book is maybe this. What if you were to think about this? These are things that literally shape the course of your destiny and your future. And you can't become yourself by yourself. You certainly can't play your largest game. It's one of the things I love to say in Feminine Power, like playing our largest game in life is a team sport, not a solo race. And I can't speak more highly about how invaluable it is, not just to be surrounded by others who are working on the same level as you, but to be in a context where you have a culture of radical generosity, resource sharing, amplification with one another. And that's not necessarily the prevailing culture of business or
Yeah.
relationships between women. And so it's those two things together. And I believe that a culture where women are truly amplifying, resource sharing, mirroring, championing one another, that this is what's going to change. Like, this is really where the source of our power as women to step into our leadership destiny comes from, because we gain confidence from the process of being part of this larger collective. It's power is a verb. It's not a noun. It's something that we share. We power each other, and we're powering ourselves and others. And when you can be a part of a group who stands for that, it's kind of like the rocket fuel that you need to be able to get to the next level and the next level and the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And something you just said too, that radical resource sharing, radical generosity, you just helped give actually, words for me in some things I've experienced in some groups and not in other groups.
Right. Exactly. It's not just, it's the culture. It's the culture of a group, as well as the individuals in it, that is the difference, that makes the difference.
Yeah.
And I know that this is really in the center of everything that you create, Allie, is, both the phenomenal women. I came to one of your events a few years back, and I was blown away by the caliber of women that you attract, in their intelligence, in their creativity, in their impulse to serve and to contribute. These women who want to self-actualize and create, who also have decades of experience, decades of capacity. But it's not just that, it's the culture that you create that genuinely ignites and empowers this radical generosity and resource sharing between people. And that's one thing that struck me, and why I wanted to be friends with you from the very beginning, because there was nothing, like, there was like not even a hint of any vibe of competitiveness. And, it was very unusual to meet someone of your caliber and visibility, who was so, with everything that she has, amplifying and lifting other women up. And that's who you are. And that's what you create. And that's the culture you create in the work that you do.
Thank you. Love you so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's and actually, I'm going to slip this in before, because I want to keep going with this. It's just such a great topic, but I want to give, before I forget, I feel like I'm catching up with Claire, and I forgot that we're live with all these people. I want to give a quick reminder that next week I'm actually hosting a private informational call to tell those of you about the trust, if you would like to learn more. And I'm hosting this call personally. And here's the link you can go to. It's jointhetrust.org/private invitation. And this is happening on Wednesday, next Wednesday. We are already in February, by the way. I can't believe it. That is going to be at noon. And what the trust is a new network for women at this caliber. If you enjoy these types of conversations and want this radical generosity, I'm going to start using that. I appreciate that. And coming from this place of more just a higher place. And there's a reason that we do have a revenue minimum of $1 million. And some people say, well, it shouldn't really be about the money. There's something that shifts. Maybe you can even comment on this, Claire, and that kind of ascension. The $1 million mark, there's been something so special about that for me and everyone who hits it. It's kind of like, all right, you've proven yourself, you've plugged into some type of model, and now you're going like, okay, what's this really about? What's the juiciness of this? What's the next evolution? Let me meet women from outside my industry. Let me connect with some women I wouldn't have even connected with otherwise. And the conversations that happen, and I do think the different industries is so beneficial. For example, just last week we had the group on a call, and one of the women has had actually a great year, and she said, I want to buy a commercial office building in town. And down at the bottom of the Zoom screen is someone who does this stuff all the time and said, oh, there's this great SBA program you can get and I'll hook you up. And I'm like, this is amazing. And then you have the practical things, and then the ones who are going through some very personal things as well and are saying, you know what, let's connect offline, let's have a call. It's just a magical place, like not an ounce of ego that I found in there, nothing to prove. They're truly creators. I'm going to use that word that you used before. They're here to create and create this new world together. There's something that's come out of this last year that wasn't there before. It was really interesting because when I launched this too, probably like in the beginning of last year for you, when the circumstances popped up, I'm like, okay, this is great. We launched an organization that was, at that time based around live events. Awesome. Right. And, but it grew and morphed a bit. And now we have this great organization that's truly built for all seasons with these amazing women. So the year was a gift. The year was a gift. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Claire, but tell everybody where to follow you, what you have going on, please share.
You can go to femininepower.com, my website that has a ton of free resources on there. You can find out, you can get a seminar on feminine power where I'll go through the whole process of how you awaken feminine power. There's an ebook on that site as well you can access. It's called The Visionary's Guide to Empowering Women. This is the thing I'm most excited about, is training women to be specialists in the empowerment of women. So I have transformational coaching facilitation that's really specifically about becoming an expert in empowering self-actualizing women. And so much more. It's on the website, and you can follow me on Instagram, Claire Zammit, PhD.
Yeah. Is that where you're most active these days? Insta?
And I'm just about to start being really active there. So come help get the party started.
Yeah. It's a little more fun there. I like it there. It's a little more fun. So,
I do. Yeah. I really like it over there. It is.
It's more fun. And now Clubhouse, everyone's on Clubhouse now. And I'm like, I'm just getting into Instagram. I'm always like, I'll wait and see what happens with that. So any last words for the women watching who are starting to hear this stuff and go, oh, this is interesting. And gosh, this is, maybe they're getting a little tingly right now and they're thinking, you know what, maybe this is leading me to something special.
Confidence is not in knowing the answers. Confidence is, the confidence that you need to succeed. It's not in knowing all of the answers, having it all figured out. It's in developing the self-trust that you can find the way. You can, that fundamentally you can believe in the value of who you are and what you have to offer. And I know that's true, that you have a divine spark of greatness in you, and you were born to contribute that gift to the world, and the world can't realize its destiny without you fully expressing it, rising to lead what you're called to. I know that all of creation is organizing around your success. And when you plug into that deeper knowing in yourself and wisdom in yourself and start listening to and taking action on that knowing, you can reconnect with the flow of your life, however disconnected or off course that you feel. And that our power to generate is also in having being able to reach out to others for support, for resources. None of us can become ourselves by ourselves. And you can take my power statement: the more I'm able to receive support, the more powerful I become. And that's really true. You are not, we're no longer in the times of, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and, I mean, do it by yourself. To create and manifest and generate at this new level, we need to be able to, connect and generate in these new ways. And there's just an extraordinary opportunity here for your life. And whatever the biggest calling is, go for it.
I love that. I want to talk to you all day. We'll arrange that soon.
Oh, Allie, I love you so much. It's so nice to see you. And it's been such a joy to be here on this platform with everyone.
Oh, this is so fun.
For an amazing year. Much love. Many blessings.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'm going to, Claire, thanks for joining us. And I'm going to switch right now and just give one more reminder about that call I'm hosting this coming week. I'm in trouble, man, if this is my first Zoom today. All right. Wednesday, February 3rd at noon Eastern. Join thetrust.org/private invitation. I would love if you would like to come join us. And thanks for tuning in. Please share the show if you enjoyed what I had to share today, what Claire had to share today. And take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.